7:30 last night. She had a family emergency. That's why she's not.
Yeah, that's what Ed just told me. So, well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why I normally have 4 judges. There's elevator pitch first, so they'll be right here. The first elevator pitch will be the last team to go. Yeah, well, we'll have about 5 minutes in between the elevator pitches, and so it's going to be a random draw. Whoever goes last in elevator pitch goes first.
No, I'll be ready. Does this have a switch on or something? I'm not getting this at all. Of course, I'm not going to be able to test it because it's...
As soon as you give me a live mic, I'll bring this. It's on. Can you hear it? Yeah. I am my own microphone.
Check 1, Mike 6. Are we good, Mike? All right.
Well, I know, but we figured since this was up on stage.
So, John, we've got a live mic.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, stand the mic for the live stream.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Ballard Morton competition. It's time to take your seats. Hi, good to see you. We're going to go ahead and get started. Call this to order. I'm Professor Bobby Garrett. I'm the competition director and the director of the Fork Center for Entrepreneurship. Welcome, everybody. I want to remind everybody about social distancing conventions. Looks like we are all spread out in the room. Please keep your mask on. When you come up here to present, as I am, you can take your mask off. All right, so no mask during your presentation, but then go ahead and put it back on before you sit back down. We'd like to welcome faculty and staff who are here. Of course, y'all know Suzanne Bergmeister and Mary Topolsky, our faculty members here. We have staff supporting us in the back of the room. Yeah, if you'd like to applaud Katie, that's very polite. Yeah, thank you everybody for being here today. And I am under the understanding that a little bit later this morning, our dean will show up to offer some words and show some support for y'all. All right. Our competition schedule for the day is that we will begin with our elevator pitches, and Suzanne Bergmeister will do a random drawing in just a bit that I'm sure you're already familiar with this procedure. After that, we'll do our 3 investor pitches, and I'd like to introduce our judges. Lisa Bajornis is with us today. Welcome, Lisa. And Ed Nasif. Thanks for coming, Ed. All right, their bios are in the program, and I tried to distribute programs widely as I was walking around earlier, but if you didn't get a program and you were coming in a little bit late, there are programs on the back corners there for you to pick up. And the prizes today, we have some fantastic prizes. So there's a $500 prize for the best elevator pitch, a $7,000 prize for the best, for the winner of the business plan competition, a $4,000 second prize, a $1,500 third prize, and another $500 prize for the best presentation that may not have won, but gave the best presentation. And then we've got tax services also on a big check. So you see this stack of big checks over here. We're going to put your names on them, hand them out, take some awesome pictures with them. Anyway, thanks for being here today. I appreciate the enthusiasm and the excitement. And with that, I will hand it over to Suzanne Bergmeister to administer the elevator pitch competition.
We have a malfunction of the chair. Sorry about that. All right, welcome everybody to the 2020 Ballard Morton. A little bit different this year. We don't have a Friday evening component. We don't have a trade show component. This room is designed to safely host 42 people in it. We thought we would have that many, but since we're doing the live stream option, many people decided to do it, to watch this from the comfort of their own home or office. Of course, we didn't give that option to our judges, and we certainly didn't give that option to our competitors, our competing teams. So welcome. I'm the entrepreneur in residence, and I have been affiliated with Ballard Morton since it started. How many years ago? I don't know, 10, 12, 15, something like that. So I'm happy to be here to be the MC for the elevator pitch portion of the competition. I will randomly draw a team name And then that person will come up here, and I will start the clock when you start to speak. They will have 60 seconds to do their elevator pitch to our judges. There are certain things that they have got to cover in that elevator pitch. The judges know what they are, and the teams know what they are. If that person hits 60 seconds, I will be forced to yell, "Stop!" And I don't like to do that. I've had to do it in the past, and I really don't want to do it, so hopefully they've been practicing, and I won't have to do that. And I know they've been practicing, and I'm excited to hear their elevator pitches. So I would like all three people that are going to compete just to line up on that wall, because it's going to be random. And then you're going to just run down here, take off your mask, and present. So, okay, I'm shuffling up everything. And our first elevator pitch competitor will be, whoops, it's upside down, Birthright. Yay! Let's hear it. Yeah, give me a second.
Hello? Hello?
Well, it's for the live stream.
Oh, well, hello, live stream.
I will start the clock when you start to speak.
Ever since the start of the global pandemic, we have all seen how difficult it is to care for loved ones without physically being there. Good morning, I'm Danton Rice, and we are Birthright Technologies. Birthright is a software as a service company improving quality of care for individuals with early stage Alzheimer's and dementia. By capturing personalized memories and developing care touchpoints through actionable insights, our software improves the emotional connection between patients, families, and in-home healthcare providers. With the senior population rapidly expanding, Americans with Alzheimer's is expected to triple by 2050. Care costs for these individuals and caregivers exceeds $500 billion a year, dwarfing costs of other diseases like heart disease and cancer. We're asking for a seed round of $600,000 at 30% equity with a 5.5 times cash on cash and a 100.06% IRR to help us create a tool improving the lives of patients and caregivers in the unpersonalized healthcare industry. Thank you.
Judges, take your time writing your notes. Just look up at me when you're finished. All righty, it looks like the judges are ready for our next competitor in the elevator pitch competition. Let me give these one last shuffle. Our next competitor is Petra's Pursuit. I will start the clock when you start to speak.
Petra's Pursuit is a distilled spirit brand that marries bourbon and the Latino community's pursuit of the American dream. Hi, everyone. My name is Orlando Castillejos, and I'm the founder of Petra's Pursuit. Today, Latinos who drink regularly are 34% more likely to consume Scotch, a whiskey from Scotland, than the average American drinker. I am certain that Latinos can have bourbon become the whiskey of choice. Today, I'm asking for $300,000 to acquire straight-aged Kentucky bourbon, licensing, and advertising in the United States. Using an EBITDA and multiplier of 11, Petra's Pursuit will have a valuation of approximately $15.5 million by 2026, positioning itself for acquisition by a company such as Pernod Ricard or Constellation Brands. The return on investment is approximately 70% IRR and 15.5 cash on cash. So please join me today in the creation of a uniquely American spirit for a uniquely American experience. Thank you.
I should stand up here. It's better. I'm taller up here. All righty, and it looks like our judges are ready for the third and final elevator pitch, and that will be random draw. New Yasa! Yeah! Start the clock when you start to speak.
What do a handful of Navy SEALs and my 80-year-old neighbor have in common? They were both physically defeated by a 90-minute hot yoga session. Why is it that bodybuilders, marathon runners, and even high school athletes use athletic supplementation to crush their fitness goals, but no solution exists for the 55 million yoga practitioners in the United States today? I'm Jack Manzella, the CEO and co-founder of New Yasa. New Yasa is a premium yoga brand that delivers a broad range of health and wellness products to the yoga community. Our mission is to enhance yoga practitioners' well-being both on and off of their yoga mat. Whether that means dialing in for an intense vinyasa flow or just getting your daily dose of greens, New Yasa stands beside you. We are asking for $325,000 in seed funding in exchange for 25% equity. With that capital, investors can expect a cash-on-cash return of 26x and an IRR of 92%. Thank you.
While the judges are writing their final comments, I just wanted to remind the audience at home and here in the auditorium how difficult that is that those three students just did. And it was a team effort because the team was involved in crafting the wording and making sure that everything got covered. And I just want to give them another big round of applause because that is really hard to do. Good job, guys. As you know, next up is the 15-minute investor pitch competition. Mary Topolsky is going to run that, be the MC for that, so I'll invite her up here. And New Yasa is going to go first, and then Petra's Pursuit, and then Birthright. So if everybody wants to get all mic'd up, and I'll turn it over to Mary Topolsky. Mary, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mary Topolsky, Assistant Director, External Programs, and your host for this portion of the 2020 Ballard Morton New Venture Challenge. So I'd like to again welcome everybody here for this event and welcome everybody at home that's watching it from the comfort of their homes. So teams, you are going to have 15 minutes for your presentations. I will let you know when you have 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then when you reach 15 minutes, I will let you, I'll hold up stop. I will let you finish your sentence. And if you exceed the 15-minute time limit, I will then yell stop, which hopefully we won't get there. After that, the judges will have up to 20 minutes to ask you questions. I will remind the judges to ask you questions and to save their comments and constructive criticism for the session afterwards. the judges' comment section. So we are going to be judging the teams on their ability to respond to questions and to answer questions on their feet. So again, the judges will be focused on asking you questions for you guys to address. So I will be sitting over there, and that's where you guys need to look for your time limits. I'd like to remind the audience members to please make sure your phones are silent and please not to leave the room during the presentations. So thank you very much. Sorry, to order the presentations for those of you that are watching at home is going to be the inverse of that of the elevator pitch. So up first is New Yasa.
Check, check. We've been practicing a little bit.
Good. It's HDMI, actually.
Yep.
Jeez.
Beautiful. All right. Got this, buddy? Yep.
Yeah, let's just take the mask off. That's us too.
Okay.
Is it turning on? I don't think the thing is on.
This is blinking. Projector. Yeah.
So you press this one like it.
Beautiful.
It's mapping up more lately.
That's working pretty well this past week.
It was working last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't like coming back on after you hit Project Blank.
Ooh,
Suzanne.
Suzanne. There we go.
It's not ready yet. It's going to get right on.
We could just go no slide.
I will start timing when you guys start talking.
All right. What do a handful of Navy SEALs and my 80-year-old neighbor have in common? They were both physically defeated by a 90-minute hot yoga session. Why is it that bodybuilders, marathon runners, and even high school athletes use athletic supplementation to crush their fitness goals, but no solution exists for the 55 million yoga practitioners in America today? I'm Jack Manzella, the CEO and co-founder.
I'm Nolan Carrico, CPO and CFO.
I'm Giovanni Giorcelli. I'm COO.
And we are New Yasa. New Yasa is a premium yoga supplement brand focused on delivering health and well-being to the yoga community. Our mission is to enhance yoga practitioners' well-being on and off of their yoga mat. Hot yoga is an incredibly intense workout. In a typical Bikram session, consists of 90 minutes of challenging poses in 105-degree heat and 40% humidity. An average participant can expect to burn over 1,000 calories in one session. For reference, an hour of weightlifting only burns about 400 calories. Bikram yoga was invented to expel the body of impurities through rigorous exercise. Even the Mayo Clinic advises against hot yoga if you have problems with dehydration or heat-related illness. So who would subject themselves to such a brutal form of fitness? 55 million Americans currently practice yoga, and that number has been rising steadily since the early 2000s. On a global scale, the industry is estimated to be worth $93 billion and has a compound annual growth rate of 9%. In the United States, the number of consumers is rapidly rising, and they have strong purchasing power. For the past 3 years, the number of yoga practitioners has increased by 20% per year every year. And these consumers spend an average of $90 on yoga and yoga-related accessories per month. So why are American yogis so passionate about yoga? Because just like everything else, we've Americanized yoga into a mainstream form of fitness. These practitioners are different than the Bikram era practitioners of 20 years ago. They practice to look good and to feel better. They strive for wellness-oriented lifestyles, and they're willing to pay for it. They're proud to be yogis, and they're not afraid to show off. In fact, there's over 1 billion posts on Instagram with the hashtag yoga. But these consumers are demanding products to help them meet their fitness goals. But the current industry fails to deliver nutritional supplementation that aligns with the physical, mental, and lifestyle preferences of these modern American yogis. Other supplementation developed for other forms of fitness is riddled with artificial sweeteners and contains stimulants that can be very dangerous when combined with the 105-degree heat of a yoga studio. Nuyas's flagship product, Yogalite, delivers a rapid hydration, increased mental clarity, and improved physical performance, all without artificial flavors and sugars and any dangerous stimulants. Nuyasa is extremely excited to launch with Yogalite, but our mission is to expand our product lines to include products that enhance yoga practitioners' well-being, both on their mat and off of their mat. In order to break into the yoga market, Nuyasa is going to take a 3-tiered strategy approach. Our products are filled with functional ingredients that provide unique value to yogis. They are branded to target our specific demographic, and they align with yogi values such as sustainability and well-being. Our manufacturer, Catalyst Nutraceuticals, is a nationally renowned supplement developer with a reputation for developing products that taste great. They have the capabilities to procure the right raw ingredients, to develop custom formulations that we need, and design packaging that meets our sustainability standards. Similar to the highly successful local Louisville supplement brand, Alani Nutrition, our marketing approach will focus heavily on developing strategic partnerships with top-tier yoga influencers so that we can market our products directly to our consumers over e-commerce and social media, cutting out the retail middleman. By leveraging influencer partnerships, we can rapidly break into the market and develop valuable brand equity as the premier yoga supplement provider in the United States. Team Nuyasa is extremely excited to begin operations with our flagship product, Yogalite. Yogalite will be offered in 2 forms: a convenient powder packet that can be added to any water bottle before yoga practice, or a ready-to-drink can made from recycled aluminum. Yogalite contains a proprietary blend of caffeine and L-theanine in addition to its rapid hydration complex. L-theanine is an amino acid found in green tea that can enhance mental clarity and improve focus. We have found in our trials that L-theanine has enabled yoga practitioners to enter into a Zen-like state while they're practicing, which is a highly desirable characteristic in the yoga community. After launching Yogalite, we plan to expand our wellness solutions to a second product line. This product line is focused on holistic health and well-being. We've surveyed local yoga studios, talked to customers, and done extensive market research. We feel confident that a secondary product line based around hormone balance, weight and complexion management, and performance recovery is a winning second bet.
So our second ingredient to success is an aligned partnership with industry leader in formulation and manufacturing, Catalyst Nutraceutical. This exclusive relationship was developed thanks in parts to our relationship that we developed with Max Collins, CEO and founder of Alani Nutrition. As mentioned, Catalyst is an industry leader in formulation and manufacturing, but they're world-renowned in their flavor formulation. When asked to develop our first batches of flavors of berries with turmeric, acai and lime, and even lemon and basil, they were confident they could meet our every need. We're currently actively engaging in an R&D process to develop the first batches of flavor for our go-to-market product, Yogalite. So what are some of the additional benefits that come working with a company like Catalyst Nutraceuticals? And while these are their competitive prices, when at scale, will be well above industry average with their margins being at 60%. Our Yoga Light product will be right around 87% when sold directly to consumers through our e-commerce platform, and right at industry standards when sold through our partnered yoga studios. On the other hand, Yoga Light ready to drink and multivitamins will be right around 75%, while on the other hand, our green powders will be right around 85%. We expect to experience these at-unit economics margins right at the end of Q1 of year 2. So our go-to-market strategy is heavily based on our aligned partnership with top-tier yoga influencers. We will use their followers in order to portray our core offerings and our brand awareness to get it out to the overall market. We will continue working with influencers such as Abaca with 2,000 followers, as well as Bend and Zen Hot Yoga with 10,000 followers to expand our brand offering to the regional scene, as we make the needed refined adjustment before we hit the national market. Upon that, we'll look to partner with the macro influencers, a prime example of one being Morgan Towers with 390,000 followers in order to expand our core offering and our brand awareness to the national market. At the time of launch, we will have 3 local yoga studios who are ready to put our products on their counters right when we launch. So Nuyasa's revenue channels are distributed as follows. Our wholesale will be right around 15%, while our e-commerce platform will be right around 85%. When sold through our wholesale point of sale, we're able to generate brand awareness once again at point of sale. When we sell through our e-commerce platform, we're able to capitalize on our margins by selling directly to consumers and taking advantage of our margins. What entails for Nuyasa's future? Well, we will look to continue developing product lines for Nuyasa Nutrition. Additionally, we'll look to develop Nuyasa equipment that will be specifically tailored to our yogis' every need. Finally, we'll look to develop Nuyasa University. Nuyasa University will be a perfect place to host free virtual classes for people who can't attend in-person classes due to COVID-19. We'll also create a platform where ourselves and our influencers and ambassadors will be able to create additional digital content to further get our brand awareness to the national and regional scene. So finally, Nuyasa looked to analyze our competitive landscape utilizing a core offerings comparison matrix and a strategic map. In the core offerings matrix, we look to pinpoint the core offerings we'll be supplying to our customers that other products on the markets do not, specifically being sustainable packaging and natural ingredients. On the strategic map, we will look to position ourselves as the optimal yoga alignment, as well as the perfect optimal workout intensity we discovered through our customer discovery.
Our CEO, Jack Manzella, will be leading Nuyasa's 3-tiered marketing strategy through his e-commerce experience and connections with the Louisville yoga community. Our COO, Giovanni Giorcelli, will be overseeing our operations, managing our supply chain, and manufacturer relations. I have established our financial projections and continue to search for new product innovations through research and development. Meredith Conroy, the founder of Bend and Zen, has provided us with insight into the yoga market, as well as allowing us to use her studio as a product testing ground. Sam Lee is the founder of Six Sigma Labs and has provided us with key insights into the supply chain operations of the dietary supplement industry. To kickstart Nuyasa's go-to-market traction, by May of 2021, we will be releasing a pilot product launch as well as releasing our e-commerce marketing strategy. By April of 2022, we will secure a brand ambassador partnership with a top-tier yoga influencer, shortly followed by the release of our extended product lines. According to our financial projections, we expect to be cash flow positive by the end of the first quarter of our second year, largely due to the brand awareness we expect to gain through our aggressive marketing campaign. Through scaling our operations, we will be able to see increases in our profit margins and revenue, eventually reaching a revenue of just under $9 million and an EBITDA value of $3.24 million by the end of year 5. To amplify our go-to-market traction, Jack, Gio, and I have committed to an initial investment of $40,000 to be used for our pilot product launch, website development, and to establish a select few yoga influencers within the Louisville community. To get this traction off the ground, we're asking for a seed investment of $325,000 in exchange for a 25% equity stake with a 1x liquidation preference. 40% of this funding will be used to launch our first full line of Yoga Light stick packs, as well as to further secure our influencer partnerships. The remaining 60% will be used to stimulate the marketing and operations of our expanded product line beginning in year 2.
After 5 years of operations, we intend to exit through a strategic merger or acquisition. We have identified several companies who have recently made similar acquisitions in our industry. Yoga retail apparel giant Lululemon recently acquired remote fitness startup Mirror for an estimated $500 million in June of 2020. TSG Consumer Partners also purchased Core Power Yoga, America's largest studio franchise, and prior to that, they purchased Noon, a tablet-based sports supplement. Based on industry data, we estimate that the average EBITDA multiplier for companies in the dietary supplement industry to be 10.3x. With an estimated year 5 EBITDA of $3.24 million, seed investors can expect a return of $8.66 million with a cash-on-cash of 26.6x and an IRR of 92%. Team Nuyasa is energized and laser-focused on becoming the premier yoga supplements brand in the health and wellness space. We would be thrilled to have you join us on our mission to enhance yoga practitioners' well-being on and off their yoga mats. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you very much. Now, judges, you will have up to 20 minutes to ask your questions, and I would remind you to please focus your comments on questions and not providing comments.
I'd like to focus a little bit on your target market. So you've identified that your large market is obviously those that are yoga practitioners, and then you've narrowed that down that it would appear that you're really focusing on those that practice Bikram, so hot yoga. Talk a little bit about, of that, what do you hope to capture of that particular market?
Sure. So our specific target demographic are females aged 18 to 40, and we have found that especially anyone who practices other forms of fitness is very receptive to our products.
So I guess what I'm asking is, of the total number of Bikram practitioners, what percentage of that market do you hope to capture with your supplements? Certainly not the entire Bikram community, but what does that equate to?
Are you looking for a number?
Mm-hmm.
So Bikram is just there are about 3,000 Bikram yoga studios in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to penetrate as much of that as we can, but there are many more yogis in the e-commerce space that we're hoping to target as well.
Okay, all right. Talk a little bit about, in your customer discovery, the actual market demand for this supplemental line and what it is that your target customer is really looking for. And if you can, speak to what really are the benefits out of these supplements?
Sure. So over the past couple of months, we have actually been able to put our product in some local yoga studios, and we've generated over $500 in revenue in those few months. So we have seen traction with our product, and the main reason we see for yogis taking our product is the replenishment of vitamins and minerals that they lose during a 90-minute yoga session. So you imagine you are sweating buckets during these yoga sessions and you're losing a lot of magnesium, potassium, sodiums. You really need to replenish those vitamins and minerals before you practice yoga again. And similar to Lululemon's target demographic, we found that our target are young professionals who are always on the go. They need to be high performers all the time, and so they don't have the time to be dehydrated, to have that mental brain fog. And those are the people who are adamant about using supplementation to replenish their bodies.
Okay. Can you back that up with data? that supports the health benefits of your particular product line?
Sure. So the FTC and FDA regulate supplemental claims that you can make. As long as we're not claiming to cure any diseases, we can make some claims that are true. And this hydration complex is something that has been proven through clinical trials to be an effective form of hydration.
Okay, and so you are assuming those clinical trials equate to your product line?
Yes, they're the same ingredients, and Catalyst Nutraceuticals has manufactured the supplement, has manufactured the hydration aspect of the supplement before, and has data to back up these claims.
Okay, all right.
So there's a lot of mixed messages in the supplement market, right? And I guess you're really in the business of convincing yoga or exercise disciples that your supplements deliver purity, consistency, you have endorsements. You know, I work out and I'm looking at a lab that sells supplements where I work out, and I mean, one of the lines in their story is, after years of dealing with third parties delivering his clients inferior products, Alex demanded and acted on developing better options with faster results. Options formulated by PhDs, trusted Olympians, and loved by strength professionals everywhere. I mean, that's really has to be your message, right? What's the cost of that in your business plan? What is that messaging? What's it going to cost you to do that?
To generate that type of data that will support...
No, the messaging. Forget the data. I would figure that the Catalyst people would have the data. How are you going to get that word out?
Absolutely.
And make it believable, and when there's countless people throwing this at you.
Absolutely. So that's the reason that we are focused on making strategic partnerships with these yoga influencers, because these influencers have a strong bond of trust between them and their followers, unlike the level of trust that you would receive simply by advertising your products over traditional channels. This is a real person who cares deeply about yoga and the yoga practice, and they're not going to endorse a product, and we are also yoga practitioners, so we wouldn't create a product that wouldn't live up to those standards.
So what's the cost what's the cost to you guys to have that influencer endorse your product?
Sure. So when we start out, we're going to be paying these influencers per post, several hundreds of dollars per post, depending on how many followers that they have. But when we're ready to scale nationally, we're going to develop a relationship with a top-tier individual like Morgan Tyler that's going to be a win-win. Basically like hiring a high-performing salesperson, and we may create a relationship with them that is a revenue-sharing based or possibly equity-based, but we want to develop a long-term relationship so that we are both successful together as we work on this product.
And you don't dilute the message by having a paid influencer? Or
as long as it's authentic. You're absolutely right, but because Yogi values are so entrenched in wellness and sustainability, we are really living up to these claims. That's part of what Nuyasa is.
Okay.
So given that line of thinking, what then is your customer acquisition cost if you're paying hundreds of dollars per post to an influencer in order to buy your market share?
So the range of customer acquisition costs will range regarding the level of influencers that we use. On a 1 to 5 year average, we're right at about $10 for a customer acquisition cost. But as we progress throughout our time, we find that it starts at around 6 and increases up to an average of about 11 annually. And in using influencers, a lot of small influencers can have lower prices for their ads and still reach a decent amount of followers.
And your per unit product cost is?
So once again, our COGS for one packet when we are at scale would be right around 18 cents for the one packet, and we wish to obviously maximize that 87% margins when sold per pack. We will be offering this in quantities of 30 and up to 50. Obviously, once our yogis buy it once, we will obviously entail for them to come back and buy the 50 pack.
Can you go to your slide that shows your revenue projections or your financials, I guess? So based on your post-money evaluation of what 1.8 or something like that, anyway. So basically, you will be there in 2022, effectively, right? Your current valuation.
Yes, as far as the revenue, our valuation is at 1.3 million, and as far as our revenue, we expect to be there.
So why would I pay you 1.3 million today for what might be 1.18 worth of revenue in 2022?
The reason that we believe we are worth the valuation that we establish ourselves as is largely due to the unique market opportunity that we possess, as well as the margins that we will be able to generate this in a unique market space that hasn't been tapped in yet.
Well, is it fair to conclude that the unique market space that exists has been vetted by many, many supplement companies, and it's not large enough to justify anybody going after it? I mean, is that a...
So you're right, absolutely. The supplement space is crowded, which is why this is such a strong branding play towards the yoga community. So our brand equity has an intrinsic value that justifies that valuation.
So branding is a very expensive operation, quite nebulous, inexact to measure, I suppose. Half of it is wasted, you just don't know which half. What do you have at your budget for branding?
Our branding ties into our influencer strategy, so we're leveraging their branding to promote ours as well. And it also builds on our Drizhdi University, which will help create digital content that will expand our brand awareness quite rapidly.
Regarding specifics on that, our set advertising budget for year one, which combines both our online advertising as well as our influencer partnerships for our first year, is just over $75,000, and for our second year, including the investor funds, is around $384,000.
Are there trade show opportunities, when COVID virus goes away, are there trade show opportunities for yoga branding, for your all branding at trade shows?
There are large yoga trade shows. They're mostly focused around actual yoga practice, less so on products. But with COVID right now, we're going to focus more on the digital space. We've seen a large spike in things like virtual yoga, which is why we're really excited about our Drizhdi University opportunity. So that way, our influencers can promote their brands on our platform to their followers and provide value to their followers in the time of COVID, while also helping us expand our brand awareness.
Absolutely, and perhaps not only trade shows, but also yoga retreats are a huge market within the industry that we wish to capitalize on, and once again partner with those leaders inside those retreats to get
One last question. Do any of you all practice yoga?
Absolutely.
We all do.
Before this?
We've been working on this for about a year and a half. I've practiced for about 5 years.
Probably being close to a year and a half now.
Yeah, personally, I started getting into it more actively whenever we started pursuing this.
Thank you.
So you mentioned brand equity, so that would make me assume that the brand is out there, that there's value to it that you can quantify. So how far along are you in terms of development and distribution right now?
We have started development on our proprietary blend with Catalyst Nutraceuticals, our manufacturer. So far, we have been using very similar products that Catalyst currently produces to do our customer discovery and testing. So that is how far we are.
And then we've worked with some of those local yoga influencers that we mentioned and have done some posts and got feedback from them, done some of those virtual posts where they can give you feedback with their followers and found some very promising results from them. And again, I mean, it's a 10,000 influencer to have our post out there several times. It's very reassuring.
Right. So who on the team has a packaged consumer goods background?
I work for GE Appliances Innovation Lab First Build, where we launch products. We launch $1 million products 12 times a year.
Okay. And then, you know, you mentioned that your target is $255,000, I think, in revenue by the end of next year. Where are you in terms of hitting that? What are your challenges there? What do you see as any risks?
Regarding risk, I would say that perhaps one of the biggest might be in finding influencers that actually align and convey the message that we are trying to get across, which is something that we will need to put substantial research into to validate these influencers and make sure that they're on the same page with us.
Has that work begun, or do you feel connected to that influencer community?
It has begun. We've already worked with Ben and Zen, the local yoga studio, and they have 10,000 followers on their page. They really have enjoyed what we are doing because it helps them generate
Are they a
revenue.
nationally known influencer?
They have a couple of regional stores, correct, out down in Nashville. They're probably not national. They have probably around five stores.
Yeah. They're local. They're pretty local. They've got one here and one in Nashville. And then we've also worked with another local influencer who has several thousand followers. On the macro scale, we're still exploring that. We have reached out to Morgan Tyler, though, who is a nationally known yogi influencer and has those 390,000 followers. Yeah.
What's your plan B?
Our plan B, we're excited about the other innovations that we have and our secondary product line. So products that focus on hormone balance, weight and complexion management, more holistic health is something that we found that yogis care deeply about and are already taking supplements for. So we think that with proper branding and alignment with their values, that we can take market share in that space.
Well, I was really specifically talking more about if your influence strategy isn't as successful as you think it'd be, you may not get far enough to have your supplement.
Sure.
Right. So what else can you do to drive product through your, what else can you do?
So our team is intimately familiar with how to crowdfund products on platforms such as Indiegogo and Kickstarter. We understand how to generate audience lists and what percentage of those people will convert into paying customers. So that is a great platform to launch products on in a way that generates additional revenue and immediately helps you create an enormous base of customers.
And does that dilute your sustainability, wholesome, holistic message?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a way to launch our product. It's just another way to launch a product. We will still stick to our sustainability roots, with our packaging, with our supplement ingredients.
Is your packaging biodegradable?
We would have to, I'm not sure about biodegradable.
Aluminum cans are the best source of recycled material for packaging that exists. So we're really excited about those. And then we're working with Catalyst Nutraceuticals on individual stick packs that are biodegradable.
Correct, and actually, so Catalyst at the moment is not manufacturing and the packaging that are sustainable. We are in talks with them. They're actually getting their new packaging equipment right at Q1 of next year. So this alignment, when we would be ready to go to market, would be perfect, so that we would not have to go to a third party and we would go and start packaging directly through Catalyst. And this is something that we did validate probably 2 months ago and further validate maybe a week ago. So very excited about that.
In your written plan and then also in your presentation, you indicate eventually moving or including a line of equipment as well as part of the Nuyasa offering. What has been your findings around the need for innovation in yoga equipment, and how will you deliver to those innovative needs?
Absolutely. I mean, we want to make this a valuable venture capital investment, so we need to expand our product lines in order to make that happen. The current equipment in the yoga industry is very antiquated. It is, there has been very little innovation in that.
What's the biggest problem with it?
The biggest problem with it is that it probably doesn't appeal to the aging population of yoga practitioners. So there's a large group of practitioners that are aging, and they use yoga as a way to stay healthy, but they still have physical ailments. So a good example of this is wrist strain. A lot of elderly yogis experience a lot of wrist strain when they're in a position like downward dog. What we can do with an innovative piece of equipment, I've seen cork blocks. One innovation that we are interested in is using cork blocks to change the angle of your hand when you're on the ground, so you have less strain on your wrists while you're doing a pose like downward dog.
Time for one more question.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you all
much.
so much.
Okay, up next is Petrus Pursuit.
Oh, do we get time to fill this out?
Yep, yeah,
Oh,
And how long do we
Good
have?
job, Noah.
Good stuff, guys.
5 minutes.
Grab hold of this.
Remember to take
Oh,
this
you're
out.
right, you're right.
Talking into
We
the...
will have 5 minutes in between each team if anybody wants to do this time to do so.
Hi everyone, my name is Orlando Castillejos and I'm the founder of Petra's Pursuit. Today, if you ask Latinos in the United States how they feel and see themselves in this country, over 54% of them will tell you that they do not see themselves as being a part of this country or consider themselves outside of the community. So Petra's Pursuit is a straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey that will marry the Latino experience that we know to be an American experience. So at the heart of Petra's Pursuit is heritage. We believe that family, immigrant roots, and the opportunity to pursue your own dreams are not just Latino values, but they're also American values that will unite all of us in this country. Latinos weren't just the only individuals who inspired me to create Petra's Pursuit. It was also my grandmother. My grandmother's name was Petra. The image you see up here is actually not a picture of my grandmother. That's a picture I found online after I searched grandmother. The reason for that is because after I came to the United States when I was 5 years old, we left a lot of things, a lot of our belongings, including people that we love, such as my grandmother. And this isn't just a unique story that I have. This is a story of hundreds of thousands of individuals, if not millions in this country, not just coming from Latin America, but from all over the world. Again, this is a story of community, of unity. And today, because the Latino community continues to grow, spirit brands from vodka, tequila, to scotch, they're all trying to capture this community, this market. And they're doing this in some innovative ways, but not very innovative, and most of the time it doesn't work. And that's why they're still spending so much money trying to capture this market. Here I have an example of Jack Daniel's that we all know. They've provided a water bottle spray to a Latino barber shop in New York, Harlem. Yes, this raises brand awareness, but it doesn't do anything about why the Latino community should be purchasing Jack Daniel's. They also don't understand why Jack Daniel's is important and on its own, or why it's important for the Latino community. And we also know that Latinos already today are 34% more likely to consume scotch, a whiskey from Scotland, than the average American drinker. And this is no mistake or an accident. The reason for this is because Latinos who are coming to this country have been impacted by Scotch whiskey for decades. Buchanan's, for example, another Scotch, sells over 1.9 million cases in Latin America alone. So Latinos are coming to this country with this affinity for whiskey. So it's our job to introduce them to American whiskey, bourbon. That's why my value proposition for you is creating a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey that's been aged for 5 years, that has an authentic story to the community that cannot be replicated by any of these other major brands who have deep pockets, and with a premium price of $39.99 to signal the premium quality, but also to guarantee that quality of our bourbon. Today, the bourbon market's approximately $4 billion in the US. Petra's Pursuit is going to come in and capture just 0.1% of that market, or about $4 million in revenue. But there's potential for growth here. There's about 22 million Latinos in the United States who drink regularly. There's another 84 million in Mexico, and another 1 million in Canada. And I'm looking to our neighbors north and south of the border because we're united under NAFTA, the free trade agreement that guarantees that the citizens in our neighbors and the leaders in those countries respect our laws, which is important for bourbon, because bourbon, the reason I say it's a uniquely American spirit is because it's actually protected under federal law. So the Latino buying power in the United States, when I say it's growing, I mean it's growing significantly. In 1990, their purchasing power was approximately $210 million. In 2020, over $1.7 trillion. And how are we going to reach these individuals? It's important for Petra's Pursuit to be first introduced in a conversation. It's got to be organic. It's going to be face-to-face. That's why we believe that an on-premise approach is crucial for the growth of Petrus Pursuit. This means that we're going to coordinate with restaurants where people visit, where they already know their server, so that they can be introduced to this new brand. It's going to be important to also have some awareness online, and that's because of the current pandemic. And we don't foresee the pandemic to go away in 2021 or into 2022. So we have to be prepared for that. This means that after an individual is introduced to that Petrus Pursuit at their local restaurant, they will see an ad where they can order that Petrus Pursuit online through a company such as Drizzly, or be directed to their local store. Finally, if we're going to communicate with the Latino community, it's got to be done in the language that is primarily spoken by the Latino community, that is Spanish. Univision has local news stations in all of the major markets in the United States. So it's going to be important for us to get in front, have a conversation again about Petrus Pursuit, be consistent in our approach. Because on-premise is so important, we came up with a cocktail that servers and individuals can introduce them into bourbon with. The cocktail we have is Bourbon a la Mexicana. It's an iteration of what the Mexican palate already enjoys. It's comprised of your favorite grapefruit soda, lime juice, ice, 2 ounces of Petrus Pursuit bourbon, and Tajín chili powder that's going to be infused in the drink as well as around the rim of the cocktail. I would have brought some here today for all of you, but we're in a pandemic. We shouldn't be sharing meals or drinks. So as you know, I am the founder of Petrus Pursuit. I was inspired by bourbon after moving to Louisville about 3 years ago and realizing that we have this amazing spirit that I had no idea about, even though I had traveled throughout the United States and Latin America. I was born in Veracruz, Mexico, raised in Northern California. I am a proud United States Navy veteran. I've had the privilege of living in this country as both undocumented and a U.S. citizen. Now, I'm currently a project manager of class action lawsuits where I've been responsible or assisted in the distribution of over $2 billion, both in the U.S. and worldwide. My advisor is Joel Adams. He is the former co-founder and CEO of RJ Spirits. They successfully launched a spirit back in early 2008 and in 2009. He's also a co-founder of Big Tent Group, a beverage consulting firm. So key project milestones. In 2021, what we're going to do is acquire that liquid that we're going to bottle, that 5-aged barrel bourbon that we're going to bottle and prepare for distribution in 2022. In 2022, we'll begin that on-premise advertising that I spoke about earlier, and we'll also begin to lay that first bourbon under the Petrus Pursuit name. Laying that first bourbon means sourcing the corn, sourcing the white oak barrels, and charring them in order to draw from our own liquid 5 years later. In 2024, we're going to release Petrus Pursuit infused in a mezcal barrel. The reason for mezcal barrels is because in the last 5 years, mezcal, a distilled spirit from Mexico, has seen triple-digit growth every single year, and it's going to continue to do this. The great news is that it's in its infancy. So if we start now, we will be able to capture a large share of this market that is still just growing and still just being discovered. By 2026, we'll begin to prepare that barrel that we laid 4 years earlier so that we can bottle it at the end of the year of 2026 and sell it under Petrus Pursuit. Our projected revenue. In our first year, we expect to sell over 7,750 milliliter bottles. By the end of 2026, approximately 120,750 milliliter bottles. These units both include the initial release of Petrus Pursuit as well as the mezcal infused version. I am committed to $20,000 in order to begin the process of acquiring the aged bourbon. The seed round for 2021 will be for $300,000 for a 30% preferred stock. The Series A investment in 2022 will be specifically to source the raw materials that in order to lay the barrels that we will then source at the end of 2026. And that's for a 20% preferred stock. The seed investment will be specifically for overhead costs, aged bourbon barrels, and the marketing and advertising of Petrus Pursuit. Sorry. Now, our exit strategy. By 2026, we expect approximately 10,000 cases or 850,000 net income. Using EBITDA and a multiplier of 11, we expect a valuation of $15.5 million. The industry average in 2019 was approximately 16 times EBITDA. This positions us for a acquisition by a major brand such as Constellation Brands or Pernod Ricard, who own an array of distilled spirits, both whiskey, vodka, and so on. The return on that seed investment is about 70% IRR and a 15 times cash on cash. The 500 Series A investment is approximately 44% IRR and a cash on cash of four times. So, thank you. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you join me in the creation of this uniquely American spirit for a unique American experience that I know we all share and value. Thank you.
Can you go back to your slide of where your history? There's one slide up there that has your...
The milestones?
No, your history.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Have you visited Veracruz recently?
Yes. The last time I was in Veracruz was in 2016.
And do you have any photographs or pictures of your hometown or your home, the house you lived in, or your grandmother or anything?
I have one picture of the house that I lived in, and it's the picture that I took in 2011 when I took the picture after visiting for the first time.
So you're suggesting that the Latino experience has to do with family?
Yes.
And you have to tie that into your bourbon?
Yes.
So what story are you going to tell about your family and this bourbon?
The story begins with Petra, who we had to leave behind. And so our family was fractured there. The individuals who did come here, my immediate family, my mom, my dad, my siblings, began a life here knowing that we had left a crucial part of our family.
And isn't that, I mean, that's an important component of your story, your branding?
Absolutely.
Okay. Has anybody tried this before? Bourbon?
Mm-hmm. Yes, actually, I found one bourbon created by, the bourbon brand was called J.R. Revelry. It was released in 2015.
Yes, a bourbon from America's South via South America, J.R. Revelry.
Yes. Yes.
There's also a second bourbon called, I can't pronounce it, but so this is being tried, which I suppose validates your approach in terms of it being an interesting segment of the market.
Yes, and from what I've gathered, they have not performed the strategy that I'm going to have, which is an on-premise approach. I think the problem with a lot of these new brands is that they want to put them up on the shelf in liquor stores right away, and then think that the ad's going to somehow generate some excitement. But I truly believe that if I'm going to name this Petrus Pursuit, and if I'm going to communicate with the Latino community, it has to be through a dialogue. It can't be through just an image.
Do you have any idea how many Latinos are in this area?
In this area, we are small. In the Louisville area, we're about 5,000 to 10,000. We're a very small community here.
And how many drinkers are that of the 5,000 to 10,000, you think?
If I use the national average, it would be about 4,000.
And how many bottles of that is a year?
How many bottles of that?
A bourbon is that a year?
I don't have that information in front of me. I would have to do, I have to go back and look at the numbers.
I heard this week that Louisville has the 6th largest community of Cubans in the U.S.
Okay, yes.
They were talking about the election. I heard that. I was surprised to hear that, so I think there's a lot of Latinos here. Okay.
So I'm really struggling with the problem you're trying to solve in this particular solution. So you've indicated that the problem you're looking at is that the Latino communities find it hard to live in the U.S. So that's a very broad statement, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the definition of live? And knowing that there are many generations now of Latinos who have been here, where are you focused? Are you focused on first generation Latinos in the U.S. versus those that have multiple generations that have now been here? So can you speak to that a little bit in terms of, let's first start with this. Mm-hmm. Define what you mean about Latinos and their difficulty to live in the U.S. as the problem you're trying to solve. What does that mean?
What does that mean? It means that if you ask an individual who identifies as Latino, mm-hmm. how they feel about themselves in comparison to the United States, how do they see themselves? How do they perceive themselves to others in the community? The majority are going to say, "I don't feel like I belong. I don't feel like I am being understood or acknowledged or even celebrated." So that's where that statistic comes from. The question is, how do you feel? How do you perceive yourself? And that perception is not just, it's been a gradual progression. It's 54% today, but it was approximately 46% in 2015. So that to me signals that this isn't just going to go away in the next year or 2 years, and that we have to do something about it. I'm in a position where I found myself in Louisville, Kentucky, and discovered bourbon for the first time. I realized that if America has this distilled spirit that celebrates its uniqueness, well, we can take that message and deliver it to the Latinos and saying, hey, this spirit is as much yours as it is anybody else. So don't feel like you should not be going down this path of feeling like you don't belong.
So that's a very, very strong claim that you're trying to make, that by taking a third-party bourbon, mm-hmm. putting your label on it, handing it to the Latino community and say, if you just drink this, you're suddenly going to feel like you fit in. Mm-hmm. And I'm really struggling with how you can make that claim and who's buying that claim.
Yes, so what led me down that path is the Latinos who are currently drinking regularly. One, yes, they're picking up tequila because it's from Mexico, and many Latinos are from a Mexican background, but many others are also drinking Scotch, a whiskey, right? So if they're looking for specific brands already that they believe celebrate them back home, then there's every reason to believe that if there's a spirit in the United States that can celebrate them here, that they will also engage that.
So in your customer discovery, is that what you heard? If only there were an alcohol that has a Latin name to it, I will feel included, I will feel part of this country?
No, not at all. What they want is a message of inclusivity, of saying, hey, I have a story, we all have a story, and it's not being told, and instead we're being demonized, or it's being untold in a way that is from someone else's perspective. So I think what the value here is that it's coming from a Latino who happens to have been born in Mexico but raised in the United States. So that's what Petrus Pursuit brings.
Okay.
Can you I didn't understand the Scotch heritage. What is that about?
The reason I bring up Scotch so much is because Scotch has done a very good job of integrating themselves in Latin America.
Why is that? Well, I mean,
Yes.
versus something else.
Yes. One of the driving reasons is because they actually associate themselves with local organizations and entities that Latinos are proud of, whether it's a nonprofit that delivers food, or it's a major soccer team that there's a lot of pride for. So Scotch isn't afraid to celebrate the values that Latinos already have, where bourbon has a much harder time. And as we saw with the image of the Tennessee whiskey, they're trying to capture that community, but they're going about it in a way that doesn't resonate with Latinos.
Tennessee whiskey is not bourbon.
Yes, I understand. They wish.
I just was curious, because, you know, I don't necessarily think about Scotch and Latinos together. I think about Scott and the British together, or Scotch and India together, but don't really necessarily think. That's an interesting story. Okay.
And the only reason I picked up on that is because I've had a chance to travel through Mexico and Latin America, and I thought it was so odd that when individuals wanted to invite me over and say, "Oh my gosh, you're in town, come and celebrate with me," it was a bottle of Buchanan's, a Scotch whiskey, and I thought, what is this? First of all, I've never heard of it, and everyone celebrates with it.
So there's only you on this team, right?
Yes.
What happens to this if you get hit by a bus? What happens to my investment if you get hit by a bus?
What happens, sorry, could you repeat
To my investment if you get hit by a bus?
Yes, so...
Figuratively speaking.
Of course, we don't wish that on anyone. So I am a one-person team. I am also in conversations though with individuals who I need to vet first before I'm willing to include them. It's too important, I think, to if I care so much about the message that I'm delivering to an individual, it's got to be just as important for the individuals who are going to join me. It's a little difficult to identify those people in Louisville because it is a smaller community, but as we grow, and the direction is to grow local, but then pursue the large markets such as California, where you have over 18 million individuals of Latino descent there. A lot of educated and ready individuals are available to join the team.
What's your professional background?
So I am a project manager by trade. I manage class action lawsuits. What that means is that I am put with the responsibility of overseeing and executing the settlement agreements and orders that are approved by the court.
Right. So you don't have distribution, manufacturing, labeling, packaging, et cetera, of a beverage good to the market, right?
Yes, that's
so
right.
So who's your first hire?
Hopefully my advisor. I'd say he's currently a doctoral student, but he has years of experience, and I know that if this were to reach that next step, he would jump on board.
Okay.
Your bottle. Can you go to the slide that had your bottle? So I found this on the internet. It's a little different bottle shape. Was that the second version of this?
Pretty much, no. Actually, this is an MVP. We have not finalized the bottle or the label itself. What we have finalized is the logo.
So have you thought about the impact that the bottle itself has on the sales?
Yes, I have. And because this is going to be a premium brand, the shape of the bottle, there's more room there to shape it in a way that appeals to the eye versus if I were trying to have this bottle sit at a bar.
Who's the manufacturer of the bottle?
I would be working with the Epicenter here in Louisville. They have experts from bottling to the distribution of the
Is there a
bourbon.
glass blowing industry in Veracruz, Mexico?
Not that I'm aware of right now.
You need to find that out. Because I bet there is.
What's distinctly unique or your competitive advantage in terms of taste of the product that you want to deliver to this target market?
Yeah, so I think it's important that this bourbon be aged 5 years. When you look at the history of the major bourbon brands, many of them used to indicate that their bourbon was aged 5 years. That signaled that this was a quality product that had absorbed all of the flavors from that white oak charred barrel. These days, you don't find that. It's more difficult to find that. And the major brands no longer indicate the 5 years. And it's because the demand for bourbon has increased significantly. And to keep up with that demand, they can no longer guarantee the 5 years. We're in a position to introduce a new product, and the limited units that we have to produce, we can do that.
Do you know the legal requirement for a whiskey to be called a bourbon?
Yes.
And they are?
They are a new white oak charred barrel. It is 51% corn, and it must be aged for at least 2 years. Of course, it must be produced in the United States.
Can you go to your slide with your, I guess your revenue numbers on it? Keep going. There. No, but anyway, you had production in 22.
Yes.
Our sales in 22.
Yes.
How do you get 5 years out of 22 to now? So you're going to put down 3-year-old bourbon today?
No, what we're going to do is source the liquid first, the bourbon, which we'll do in 2021, bottle it and label it and have it ready for 2022. This is a more expensive approach, but it's also the approach for many new bourbon brands, because you do not want to wait 3 years, or in our situation, 5 years.
Now, you're going to blend this bourbon?
No, we're not.
You're going to buy it from a distiller?
Yes.
So you've sourced 5-year-old bourbon today?
I have seen it, and I'm ready to source it. I've had conversations with major distilleries who have contracts ready to source this 5-age bourbon, yes.
I found a t-shirt online on Amazon, and it's Spanish. And it says, "Life is short, drink more bourbon." It's for sale on Amazon. I found it this morning.
I'm not surprised, you know.
I'm going to give you this package. So.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about your go-to-market strategy once you have product available?
So, just the question was to just discuss.
There's you,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're going to, go one by one to various different local restaurants, and you're going to put together a social media campaign, or can you give more detail to your points here?
Yeah. So, as we identify the communities that we want to impact, we want to have conversations with local media first. Have that be validated already by the news sources and individuals who Latinos trust, and then go and work with preferably chains. For example, El Nopal is in Louisville. It's a major one. It's in southern Indiana. Chains first, so that you can have one conversation that will lead to many on-premise locations. The online portion is really to begin the process of diverting individuals, or giving the individuals the opportunity to purchase the bourbon in a time when they can't go or may choose not to go due to the pandemic.
So are these the strongest channels in which your target customer is going to pay attention to a new product entry that presumably identifies with them?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is, because Latinos they're not well informed about bourbon.
So they would typically get their bourbon or other alcohol information from Spanish local media?
They would be introduced to bourbon, yes, through local media, absolutely.
So you're going to pay for advertising?
I'm going to pay for advertising online where it's more, where I'm going to get more, more awareness for a lower cost. The Spanish media will be specifically through interviews, so that would be another low-cost option.
Time for one more question. No more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a short break while the judges fill out their sheets. We'll be back for the next presentation. Will be at 10:10.
The mic, you just gave me a hot mic, man.
Oh goodness, don't tell him that. He'll actually do it. Yeah, just. Since COVID-19 began, reliance on mobile treatment solutions have become increasingly important, and yet there are no software tools available that focuses on person-centered care for patients while relieving the burden of caregiving. Good morning, I'm Danton Rice. These are my great colleagues, Joel Scherer and Katie O'Malley, and we are Birthright Technologies. Birthright is a software as a service company improving quality of care for individuals with early-stage Alzheimer's and dementia. By capturing personalized memories and developing care touchpoints through actionable insights, our software improves the emotional connection between patients, families, and in-home healthcare providers. Fueled by the aging baby boomers, our nation's 65 and up population is projected to reach 84 million by 2050. As a result, the number of Americans with Alzheimer's is projected to jump from 5.8 million to 16 million.
And it's not just the number of people with Alzheimer's that's going to jump too. It's going to be the financial costs that go with it. Alzheimer's is the single most expensive disease in the United States. Right now, the cost of caring for somebody with Alzheimer's disease in the country is around $300 billion. It says $150 billion up there because that's outside of nursing home facilities, because there's about half a nursing home and half out. There's also a very large cost of care on the caregivers themselves. In addition to the stress and the anxiety and the strain of caring with somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, there's a lot of hours that go into it. It's about 18.5 billion hours, or 18.5 million hours a year, so that there are $230 billion of unpaid care that is also part of this. And the cost together dwarfs those of better known diseases such as cancer and heart disease. So let's talk a little bit about memory care and how it's different from treating other diseases. So with memory care, you want to focus on what's called personalized care, or person-centered care is the terminology mostly used, right? So what that is that's building care around the likes, the dislikes, the interests of the person that you're helping care for. And the way that translates is that you can have identified situations that may make their behavior change. You can already have identified things from their past, their personality, that will help alleviate the burden of caring for them. And additionally, having personalized care plans is really critical to helping maintain the cognitive abilities that people have and help them live longer after they start showing signs of Alzheimer's and dementia. So what is the exact problem we're solving here right now? As Danton mentioned, there are other electronic health records out there. There are other software tools out there in this space, but none of them focus on using the person's individuality and their person-centered care while also focusing on alleviating the pains for caregivers.
Introducing our solution to that problem called Shadowbox. It's inspired by actual shadow boxes used inside nursing homes with dementia care. And, this last one, used inside nursing homes specifically for dementia care. Residents place items from their past inside these memory boxes, which brings back joyful memories of their past. Most importantly, it allows medical caregivers to better understand who the patient is and what they enjoy. So our product, Shadowbox, is a digital platform. It's available through a mobile device or tablet. By utilizing audio recording transcription technology, personalized profiles are created, as well as key touch points and actionable insights, which leads to better communication among caregivers. So let's talk about how it works. So during the intake process, caregivers record key aspects of the patient's life story, as well as critical caretaking information by utilizing proprietary questions from proven clinical surveys used in Alzheimer's care. And then these personalized profiles are created, and then with each increased interaction, every time a caregiver is with them, they can continue to update the platform and the profile. So Shadowbox is for all parties. It's for the person, the family, the healthcare organizations, and the medical caregivers. And there's 3 entry points into the software. First is My Health. So that's for the person, and that's also for the preferred family access. My medical team is for doctors, medical providers, and medical caregivers. And my care team is for family members and family caregivers. So let's dive deeper into the My Health button. So here, you'll find a patient has the ability to view and track information very important to their care plan. So that involves their diet, their medications, their physical activity. Under About Me, this is where they're able to input all their important information on their background and family history. And they're also able to utilize that memory capture experience with photos and music and stories. And then Brain Fitness allows them to go in and see their personalized learning plan from their doctor. Exactly what Joel said, utilizing the patient's likes and interests to stimulate that cognitive function and memory. So diving deeper into My Medical team. So this is for doctors and healthcare organizations and medical providers. So this is where they have access to that curated, personalized profile. Also, they have access to the EHR portal integration that goes directly to the patient's electronic healthcare record. And then they also have the ability to update the care plan with doctor's notes information. We're going to focus here on this personalized example that has come from Dr. Friedland. He's also a neurology professor at the University of Louisville who specializes in aging brain disorders. So the example is Joyce Fitz. She's 82 years old. Her diagnoses are X, Y, and Z. She did not graduate high school. She enjoys sewing and she used to play the piano. She loves to cook bread and is famous in her small town for her rye bread. She has a meaningful tattoo on her arm that she loves to talk about. Dr. Friedland can then utilize that information and put that in the Brain Fitness portion to create it all around her likes and interests, which is sewing, playing the piano, and cooking. So diving deeper into my care team. So this is with all of the care touch points and actionable insights available to the caregivers. So you'll see the examples here for Joyce again. So these are actionable insights that someone immediately has upon interaction with the patient. So the first, Joyce may get agitated if you speak too fast. The second is Joyce is soothed if you ask her about the story of how she got the tattoo on her arm. Also, caregivers are able to come into the memory capture area and continue to upload stories, photos, and other things like music. So wrapping it all up, so Shadowbox, all of the product benefits. So we are developing personalized profiles by recording patient personal histories and critical caretaking information, which again leads to those personalized care touch points and actionable insights, which is leveraging data to improve patient outcomes, all housed within this information sharing platform for better communication between patient, family, and medical caregivers. We are delivering value through one simple, HIPAA-secured information sharing platform for the person, healthcare organizations, medical caregivers, and the family. And to add one thing to the family, it also, along the way of utilizing our product, creates a digital legacy for family members, which I can personally speak to. Because when my father was terminally ill, we did everything that we could in his last months of life to record all of his stories, his favorite memories, things like his favorite movies and music, and we put that all in a digital legacy, and it not only helped improve the last months of his life, but in his passing, it has given us a gift for our family to be able to access and tap into at our fingertips anytime we want to.
So it's my pleasure to introduce you to the team that's going to go ahead and bring this to market. So on my left is our CEO, Danton Rice, who I believe has been an entrepreneur since the day he's been born. He's also our financial person to start with, with background in accounting. Katie's also an entrepreneur, having started her own marketing and PR businesses, and is really kind of a wizard in those areas. My background is in product development, including large data software products. Ignore the JD on there. I don't want anybody to use that against me. We've also rounded out our team a little bit, knowing the fact that we are here in Louisville, as one of the nation's aging healthcare hubs, right? So we've been very active talking to people at the Traeger Center for Aging, the University of Louisville School of Medicine, and we've also rounded out our team with people who can help build the partnerships that we need to get this software out into the market. We have actual clinical providers who have treated people with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have people who have designed and run studies for it. And we've also got really great tech advisors. So Jim Orms is actually, he's worked at Signature and now he's with Trilogy, as the CIO, is a really excellent resource as far as exactly what home health care, what senior care needs as far as software. So let's talk about our go-to-market strategy for just a second. So we're going to approach this in two prongs. We're going to do a B2C option, which is going to be targeted at the families of caregivers. That's going to be a set monthly price. On the B2B side, we're going to go ahead and introduce that product a year later, and that's going to be targeted at home health care companies primarily. So we have partnered with a local software development firm to outsource the software development here. And the reason that we're partnering with them is because, one, they have built HIPAA-secure healthcare applications before in the past. They have the experience and the longevity to build a product that is actually going to work initially, that we're not going to have to worry about and tinker with as we go through the design. So a couple milestones. We've started this project in 2019. We're hoping to do product development beginning in January 2022 with the B2C version being launched 6 months later, and then the B2B version a year after that.
So as we see, there is $105,000 of revenue our first year. This is because we are really only in business for 6 months. Our monthly B2C subscriptions go up at 30% until year 3, where we see our operating expenses jump up exponentially. This is because we want to invest in our team heavily to really make sure that when we're going into new markets, we have the team behind us to make sure that we are successful. As looking at our B2B licenses, there are no licenses our first year for 2 reasons. One is because we want to make sure as we go into B2B that our B2C sales are actually improving care for these individuals, and also because of the longer sales cycle, we are cash flow positive in year 2023, and our gross margins are comparable to other healthcare software as a service companies. The founders have agreed to put in $45,000, which is going to MVP development and trial development. Our seed round of $600,000 at 30% equity. About 70% is going to sales and marketing and product development. And as Joe said earlier, we want to invest heavily in product development early, so when we do go into new markets, we don't have to worry about if our technology is actually going to work, but instead we'll have kind of a maintenance fee to keep up with our technology. Our Series A is $800,000 at 10% equity, which is still about 70% going to sales and marketing and product development, but we see that 11% is going to consulting fees. And this is because we have had doctors working with us, really crafting our business the entire time. And at this point, we want to bring them on the team full time. So when we do enter new markets, that we can make sure that our actual insights are actually valid. We have an exit strategy of projected revenue of $20.75 million our year 5 and a 3.5 times industry acquisition. Our exit strategy is to large home health insurers or companies that are wanting to improve quality of care for their patients while also wanting to differentiate themselves from the competition. Our seed investment is a 32.05 times cash on cash and an 100.06% IRR. Our Series A is a 8.9 times cash on cash and a 84.61% IRR. By delivering personalized care for Alzheimer's and dementia patients, Birthright can help deliver these tools to patients and caregivers, increasing their value and their quality of care. We hope you join us on our mission. Thank you.
Judges, you now have up to 20 minutes with questions for this team. Thank you.
So Katie, I appreciated your personal story with your dad. And so what I'm trying to understand is you're putting together the shadow box of these various different memories in order to elicit behavior change. However, you're dealing with, obviously, elderly folks that have memory issues. So right there in itself, as I just look at the situation, I'm thinking we're going to put memories in front of someone who has memory difficulties. So can you describe further from a product standpoint why you feel that that association can be made, that those pictures and songs and whatnot can be effective?
Absolutely.
In this behavioral change?
So our product is specifically for individuals who are in early stage Alzheimer's, the first 3 stages. And so it is through proven clinical research and surveys that things like eating high fatty foods puts you at a higher risk. It's proven that if you utilize music or if you utilize photos from your past that have really great memories, that you're stimulating that cognitive function. And so in our research with Dr. Friedland and others, it was all about that person-centered care, to find those touch points for someone throughout their life that can be stimulating that cognitive function, and that can help improve their care while they are progressing through the disease. But our product is not for those who have late stage Alzheimer's.
So what's the time duration average from time of diagnosis to end of life, let's say, where someone is going through this, obviously, that your solution is effective? Is it months as compared to then years?
As of 2020, the average lifespan from diagnoses is 10 years. Until
And is there an average where this is effective over that 10 years?
Yes, the first 3 to possibly 4, which we'll learn in testing, in utilizing our product, those first stages.
Okay.
It's going to be a range, right? Everybody's
Sure.
going to have different levels of ability to participate as this goes.
Okay. So talk a little bit about then what are the expected or anticipated outcomes in behavior once the patient has been stimulated by these memories. What can be expected?
Sure. So what you're trying to do with patient-centered care is find the things that if somebody is disoriented, will bring them back and help them remember where they are a little bit. Or if they get suddenly agitated, finding something that you know in their past will relate to. Like Katie used the example of the story about the woman with the tattoo on her arm, right? You know that will bring her back and help her, be more in the moment, those kind of things. So what you're really trying to do is keep people in their homes longer, right? So prevent the need to have people go to nursing homes, be able to solve those problems at home and identify those behaviors before they become overwhelming for the caregivers.
So the target customer for this solution is really the family caregiver or the professional caregiver?
The target customer is both the patient and the caregivers, yes.
So the patient, that the person suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, are they actually uploading these memories themselves?
Yes, so this is done physically, even without an app. Speaking with Dr. Jeff Beatty at Signature Healthcare, he's Chief Research Officer there. He utilizes actual hard copy questionnaires that are used upon intake that are used throughout their care early on. And so it's proven in that way in the field.
So someone in this state is expected to be able to technically do this?
Yes, early stage Alzheimer's, you are still present.
So there's a whole list of things, Grandma, go get all of these things because we're going to now take pictures and upload and whatnot.
Well, it starts with the key information like your personal history, education, profession, hobbies, interests. And so all of those can be right at intake. Right. And that's pretty standard that we've learned that's in the field already.
Okay.
Where you can, with each increased interaction with a caregiver is when you can find those photos, or you can start learning those stories, and either the individual themselves can do it or the caregiver can do it for them.
Yeah, so to put your question, to answer your question more succinctly, Lisa, it's there's going to be a range of ability of a person to participate in their own use of this application, right? We imagine with some of the technical complexity, like integrating automated voice assistants, right? Like Google, Google Home or Nest or something like that, or not Nest, but Google Home or something like Alexa, so that they can communicate that way and still use the platform that way. But it's always going to be a range. We want to give the opportunity to everybody involved, the individual person, their caregivers, and the medical professionals to participate as they can.
Where did the name Birthright come from?
I was really creative one day, and
As an accountant.
some things happen. It was kind of because we were starting off as a storytelling service, and then we realized that wasn't really scalable, and we wanted to record someone's story, so that kind of came as the right, and we wanted to give everyone should have the right to have their story and to be able to pass that down to generations. So that's kind of where Birthright came from.
Can you go to the slide that shows the subscription service?
Right here.
Well, there was one that showed. Back there. So let's say that in your case, 5 or 6 people in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Do they all pay a $30 subscription fee, or do you buy one patient and everybody gets to view? Does everybody get to share that information, or even have input to that information?
Mm-hmm. It's one access point. Do you want to further?
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be on a per patient basis or per person basis. Try not to use the word patient. And then there's going to be the ability to determine who can have access to this, kind of the same way you would do with the power of attorney or have other medical.
So I've got 4 siblings.
Sure.
My father's passing away. Do all 4 siblings pay a $30?
No, it's per. It would be for your father. Would be the touch point there.
And it seems to me that this could be quite effective, using as an analogy like medical alert, where somebody that was alone would have this data and be able to input information long before they had Alzheimer's.
Absolutely, and that's part of the approach on the marketing. I think when we get down that road a little bit too is the lasting effect of, hey, I can leave all of these stories, for my generations that don't have it. I can participate in this while at the same time we're extracting from that data those things that you're going to need to better care for them if they do later show signs of dementia or Alzheimer's.
Can you go to the slide that showed the care provider? Yeah.
This one?
So you got a facility. That's good enough. You got a facility here. Everybody's busy in a one-arm paper hanger. You got a physician. Why would they take the time to? Are they going to be reimbursed to put that information in?
It's a great question. That's one that we asked during customer discovery to doctors. What would make you use this? And one of the pain points that they expressed to us was that they don't have the time. That's why they have to focus clinically on the patient, that they don't have the tools available for person-centered care. So we said, okay, what would make you use this? And so that's where exactly that curated personalized profile came from, as far as knowing the education background, the likes and interests of a person, something that they can lead in and start a conversation with, not just for that one-on-one.
But they don't have to populate that part, right? I mean, that data, somebody else could populate for them, including a family member.
Correct. So that way that the doctor has it upon entry as they are meeting, whether it's telehealth or in person, immediately, so they have that record, they can access it and be speaking with the patient.
So what sort of information would the medical team put on there that would be important enough for them to take the time to do it?
The medical, doctors and the medical team is still putting in the exact same information. That's why there's a portal to integrate directly into their electronic health record. So they're still doing
So they're just
all
data
of the
feeding
same,
that.
Correct. They're still
Correct.
doing all of the same thing, and it's just a direct portal access.
I think that the example that Katie used about knowing somebody's education, that's a determinant for Alzheimer's, right? People with less education are going to be able to do that. Knowing what their hobbies are allows them to build a personalized care plan. So if they say, Ed, you were a great piano player in the past, I really want you to focus on playing piano. Those are the types of things that doctors can use to personalize this information. And if you pull up, I pulled up my Norton healthcare the other day. There's nothing about what I do in there other than the medications I've taken the couple of times I've been to the doctor.
Can you, I have a Norton's thing.
Yeah.
Can we put our own can we add to that file? Or does some caregiver have to enter that file and add something?
So you'll be able to add the information to our platform. And the way that we're imagining this working with other EHR records is the fact that we'll be able to take information from the EHRs to help populate the information that we need. And then we will be able to pop up as a workflow screen within, say, Epic or Allscripts or Home Care Homebase, one of the other ones people are possibly using. So if you come into the office, I know that you're potentially an Alzheimer's dementia patient, I can pop open the Birthright workflow to learn that personalized information before I design your care plan.
And is my $30 eligible for Medicare?
Right now, no.
How does it get there? Does it have to have a code or something?
So there's actually limitations on what Medicare will pay for in-home health care. I will say, though, 3 weeks ago, a senator from the state below us, Tennessee, just introduced a bill and advocated very strongly for the expansion of telehealth. Like we're all in COVID, this room is mostly empty because people can't be in person, right? So there's a big push right now to expand that. 2 years ago, Health and Human Services put together a giant think tank. They brought 700 stakeholders together to figure out what can we do with Alzheimer's. And then one of the main recommendations that came out of that was improve access to technology tools and telehealth resources for that. So there is a huge push in Congress. There's a bill waiting right now to be signed once we figure out other political situations. But there's a huge political push to have that. To get a little more deeper into the weeds there with the Medicare question, they've changed the way that home health care companies are reimbursed. It used to be on a per visit now, or it used to be on per visit, but now it's going to be on a characteristics of care, right? What kind of care are you providing? We see this as a tool that they can be able to use and hopefully be reimbursed that way as well.
This is each of you. What's the thing that keeps you awake at night when you think about this happening or not happening?
How many people can improve their care if they start using it today? How many lives we can impact?
Yeah, for me, absolutely. It's my grandmother lived with my family from the time that I was 12 until the time she passed away. And, I watched her start having, signs of dementia and those things. And there's so much about her that I don't know. So if I was actively participating in a program that would help me learn more about her, making sure that when she went to the doctor, they knew all of that about her as well, that's really the impetus for this.
And to the accountant, what do you worry about?
It's the same thing as them. I wish we had something like this now. My granddad has been to the hospital multiple times, and I've seen my mom cry multiple times about worrying about COVID and things like that. And I wish that she had something to be able to calm her down, to know that he is okay and that he is getting taken care of, and know that, like, at the end of the day, his care is being taken care of.
Can you talk a little bit about where you are with product development? You mentioned you've got a third-party entity that's actually building the software for you.
Yeah, let's go to the timeline
Where
section.
is that now? Where are you with your trials or tests or your user?
Yeah, so we actually right now are in the process of doing, what we would call product requirement documents, right? So we are taking all of the stuff that's being used pen and paper for anybody who's tried this idea right now. We're implementing all 1,000 pages of those Health and Human Services research. We're taking all of the research that we possibly can to help design those questions first, so that when we go to the software company in 2022, which is when we plan on officially launching, that will speed up the development time. So we're going to take a very long time, continue to do customer discovery, continue to build those processes before we even ask for the seed round.
Is there at some point where you believe you'll take the product development in-house?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that the company that we've partnered with works is we'll invest very heavily in them, something like 1,500 man hours for like a 6 to 9 month development cycle, so that they can build the product right. And then after that, they're going to charge us a monthly fee to basically make sure that it coordinates with Amazon Web Services or everything else that we're going to be using with this. But then, right around year 3, you can see the spike in our expenses. That's because we're hiring our own internal staff. We're hiring our own internal physicians to do that.
Okay. And what will be your protectable advantage in the market or IP that you own?
Sure. So the questions are going to be proprietary. The information that we're choosing to the way that we go about seeking it, that's going to be trade secreted. There's also the ability to copyright the code once we do that. We're imagining building out some machine learning algorithms as well that could potentially even be patented, depending on what the process is. So those will be sort of the things that will be protectable for us.
Mm-hmm. So given that you've mentioned you're going to take a very long time to develop the line of questions and whatnot and your product requirements for the software company, and you don't envision product launch until 2.5 years from now.
Sure.
How can you do that faster? How do you speed up this timeline?
Well, we move things. We just speed up the requirements process, right? So instead of taking the next year to do it, we can move that to 6 months.
What will it take to do that?
A lot more focus on and dedication to do this full time as a team and as a company. So,
Are you all full time on this?
All of us are full-time on this. Yeah.
So when you say it takes more focus, does that mean you have to simply put in more hours, or you have to?
It also means we need to finish our MBA program and leave our other jobs, right? So that's actually part of this too, right? Is that we envision once we're at the seed funding round, Danton and I go on full time immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I'll work on the product development. Danton's going to work on the sales and the marketing. While Katie does the marketing, Danton's going to build partnerships and start with the sales. So that's sort of the plan for us to do this, but we're going to wait until the calendar year, potentially sooner, depends on how things go over the summer.
Okay. And what risks are you concerned about, and how will you mitigate that?
Could you be a little more specific on risks?
In general, as you are obviously taking quite a length of time in order to commercialize and launch this into the marketplace, what potentially can happen in the market between now and then?
Well, hopefully there's some Medicare approval for telehealth solutions, right? That would be great.
That would be a good thing.
That would be a good thing, right? So, but there's other participants in it. Dan, would you go to the very last slide, which is the landscape slide, like the very last, all the way down. Yeah, okay. I'm going to break the fourth wall for a second, and that is just a really good looking slide, right? With that competitive landscape. So, but unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. So, Dan, right? So you've got these education and resource apps that are out there. Alzheimer's Association does a great job. AARP does a great job of providing information. Let's take all of that information. Let's have a two-way portal between them and share back and forth and get that information that's sharing. Dan, one more time. So these are half of the villains, right? These are the unpersonalized EHRs that are out there. So before we talk about them, Dan, one more. Let's talk about interoperability, right? So there's been a huge push in interoperability with electronic health records. The main standard right there, that's why it's circled because it's not a company logo, is HL7 Fire, right? And so that's the ability to push information back and forth between the electronic health records. Dan, one more time. So Epic and Allscripts, which are the two main ones used by physicians, actually have an app store now, right? We could be on their app store as a workflow that they wanted to add. So that could be potentially another sales channel. And we could also integrate into the workflows of the more home-based ones, such as Matrix Care or Home Care Home-Base. One more time, Dan. So I know we talked about risks, right? The risk is 1 week cure Alzheimer's, great. I'm okay if that happens, right? The risk is that somebody comes up with a different solution that gains more traction immediately. But there's already solutions specialized out there, right? So eLovey creates a virtual family member. It's like a cartoon, right? Amisa is a geotagging, so you know if your loved one has wandered off somewhere, right? Those aren't necessarily risks. Let's build APIs so that we can connect into their system. You're still using the Birthright platform as your main source of Alzheimer's treatment and care, but you can use those more specialized apps or more specialized memory apps, right? So we're mitigating the risk, but just the only way to stand out in this market is to know what you do, right? We take personalized stories, we take the personalized history, and we make care more personalized.
All right, with that, we're out of time. Thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you to our three
Do you want to
teams.
sign
You
us
guys
out?
all did an excellent job presenting. Thank you to our two judges. You guys did an excellent job asking questions and not providing feedback. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to... So we're going to take a short break while judges will return to their judging quarters and come up with the winners. We'll meet back here in about 15, 20 minutes. So stay close. We'll call you all back when the judges have reached their decisions. Thank you.
Don't go too far away, whenever the don't go far. Listen, you can go into the room whenever you want.
Okay. Yep.
And I can help you carry it. Yeah. It's gonna do all. Sharon has it set up as a
Back, everybody. Oh, and for the microphone, we are removing the mask. If I take mine off, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable too close to me. All right, excellent. Yeah, everybody, welcome back. We have our decisions made. The judges made some fantastic decisions, and we've got big checks prepared for you already. Before we move on to that, I do want to acknowledge and give great gratitude to the people who have supported us and helped us today. So Mike Peak is back there taking video and helping us with the live stream. Thank you, Mike. John Merchant from IT has been helping us all morning and is taking pictures for us too. And not present right now, but has been around, Mark Broering has been an important part of this team, getting everything set up for us. And Sharon Handy from Media Marketing is right here. Looks like she's taking a picture of me right now. Thank you very much for your support. Without this, the Ballard Morton wouldn't come off. And at home, I think watching right now is Paula Sacker, our administrative assistant, who put together our box of supplies and everything. Yeah. So thank you, Paula. And with that, I'd also like to introduce our dean, Todd Moradian, who was invited especially to come share a few words with you today and tell you about the importance of entrepreneurship. Todd?
Thank you. Bobby remembered to thank most of the people in the room that made this happen, but I'd also like to recognize the faculty. Mary, Suzanne, and Bobby do just incredible work for us. And when I came in, I had a moment to talk to some of the students and the gratitude that they expressed. And a word that came up, they were talking about sort of the experience this morning. Fun, growth. It's the result of the faculty's commitment to you and to entrepreneurship, so we should thank them also. And I mean that. Our entrepreneurship center and our entrepreneurship faculty are extraordinary. If you came into the lobby, I guess the only way you could get to this room, you saw 4 giant red letters, LEAP. The L is for Louisville. The College of Business takes very seriously its role as a resource and a catalyst for growth in our immediate community. We build programming off the strengths of the community, including entrepreneurship, which is something that Louisville has as a strength, and other areas that we build off of. And we deliberately invest in contributing to those strengths, making them ever stronger. The E is highlighted this morning. It's for entrepreneurship. When I applied to be the dean here, they give you like a 7 or an 8-page PDF that you can download that's put together by the search committee, and it has a description of the school. And the first thing the description of the school, it also has a description of the challenges, which turned out to be completely inaccurate. But in the description of the school, the first thing it discussed was the robust strength and legacy in teaching entrepreneurship. So the energy that I heard as I met some of you and the enthusiasm for these tasks is exactly the strength of the College of Business. We appreciate you. You are why we're here, and that energy is what we work for. By the way, the A is for accelerating and the P is for principled. We hope that we're accelerating your ambitions, your aspirations. We hope that we are helping you achieve the lives that you aspire to. And we do everything with principle. We tell the truth that needs to be told, we don't cut corners, and we live principled lives. So LEAP, you're a big part of it. I guess without that, it's just LAP, right? Thank you for giving me a minute, but this is a wonderful event. This is why we're here, and this is a strength of the College of Business, and good luck. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I also really want to express my appreciation to Todd, our dean, for coming this morning. This is a great signal to us and a great signal to our students of just how important you are and how important this experience is that we hope to create for you. And we hope it really is a great learning experience for you. So thank you for showing your support. All right, with that, I'll turn the time over to Ed Nasif and Lisa Bajornis, who have jointly just agreed to present the awards together, right? They've already got a split figured out. And as you are recognized, please come forward, accept your prize, and hang out for just a second so we can snap a picture of you. okay? And we'll move through those pretty quickly and then dismiss for judges' feedback, and I'll cover that in just a little bit too. During the photographs that are with the prize checks and the judges, and I might join you as I'm handing the check, keep your mask on because we'll be in a small group up here. And for optics, it would look really nice if we had our masks on when these pictures go public. But when we take team photos a little bit later, these will be more professionally oriented for, sending to other competitions. And for those pictures, we'll have you take your mask off. But for now, please come up with your masks on. Thank you. Ed and Lisa.
Hello, everybody. It's certainly on behalf of Ed and myself, it was a great pleasure for us to get to participate with you all today. And I know this is just the start of an amazing journey as you pursue the national and international business plan competition circuit. So we thoroughly enjoyed reviewing your written materials as well as hearing your presentations, asking you what we know were some very challenging questions, and everybody stood up to the plate, took a strong bat, and I thank you so much for the preparation and all the hard work that I know goes into this. And thank you to everybody who puts on Ballard Morton and its esteemed legacy and history. So I have the honor of presenting the first award that we're going to give today, which is for the elevator pitch. I know how stressful that can be, and this particular team did an amazing job giving a very smooth and comprehensive 1 minute, and I know that goes by quickly, elevator pitch. So we would like to congratulate Nuyasa on their elevator pitch.
Just for you, congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Let me move over
Come on
here.
in, team. Why don't we get out of the way of the microphone?
Oh, yeah. Format this.
Yeah. I love your masks, both of you. Really cool masks.
It's
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
We also wanted to congratulate everyone on excellent investor presentations and know how much work and effort those take as well and can be a little daunting. So this particular team, great domain expertise, and we're very honored to present the investor presentation winner award to Birthright Technologies.
Thank you. How are we doing this?
Cool at the end again.
Well, we need Catherine in here somewhere. There she is.
I'm smiling. You smiling?
I'm smiling.
For sure.
It's funny that we smile behind our man.
And I'm here to present the first, second, and third in the competition. I've been doing this since 1996, and it's really interesting to see how the environment and what we deal with changes along the way. It was internet in 2000, it was energy, and now it's coronavirus, right? And how it's taken 5 or 10 years worth of activity and compressed it in a few months, and quickly define winners and losers in the economy in which we live. So it's a really interesting time, and I'm sure it's a real interesting time to be a student, and there's an enormous amount of opportunity. I tell the story that I think in 1912 or 13, around Edison, somebody suggested that we didn't need a patent office anymore because all the great discoveries that had ever been made were already made. There wasn't anything left to do. I always think that's a very fascinating tale. And think about Standard Oil of Indiana. It took them 100 years to get to where they were. And now Microsoft and Amazon are far surpassing their capitalization, and it happened in a half a generation. So everything is getting compressed, everything. I also want to thank Orlando for your service. And let me be the first to tell you Happy Veterans Day. And with that, I would like to announce third place. The third place award goes to Petro Pursuit. The second place goes to Nyasa and a $4,000 prize. And I'm sure that by now everybody has figured out the winner. And Birthright with the $7,000 prize and accounting services from Mount Joy. So, come up.
No more accounting?
Yes, you're going to do all marketing, aren't you, Dan? It's fair to say that at University of Louisville, entrepreneurship is alive and well and prospering. Thank you all.
All right, thanks so much for being here today. We'll adjourn in just a minute. I do want to acknowledge that we also have at least one new IMBA cohort student here. Garrison, right? And is there anybody else I failed to acknowledge? There are some unfamiliar faces, mostly because 60% of your face is hidden behind a mask. Law school students, yeah, thanks for coming today. I had a meeting yesterday with the class representatives for the newest IMBA cohort, and they talked to me about wanting more networking opportunities and to meet you. So take a minute to meet at least one of them, Garrison, right? And Garrison, it's on you now. The burden is on your shoulders to go meet everybody over there. Thank you, Todd. All right, so at this point we adjourn. The judges are going to go quickly to the judges' deliberation room, where they will meet in sequence with the teams that presented in the order they presented. So the first team to go to the judges' deliberation room is Nyasa, right, and then in the order you presented from there. As you exit, we'll be there to take team photos. We may have to bring you back in here to get a good background, but go straight to the judges' deliberation room now to take advantage of their time, and we'll take your photo later. Thanks for coming today, and that concludes our competition.